Good afternoon, good evening, good night, good morning, wherever you're from. I hope you're all safe. And today I'm gonna continue my live stream series on Spring Data Neo4j 6, which is the latest major version of the Spring Data OGM for Neo4j Object Graph Mapper. My name is Florent Biville. I work at Neo4j in the drivers team with a specific focus on the Go driver. But I've also enjoyed working with Spring Data Neo4j in the past and even currently. And before I start, as usual, I would like to remind you of a few noticeable events. Let me share my screen for that. So, as I told you in the past few streams already, but you might have missed it, Notes 2021 is about to happen in a couple of months, so 17th of June to be completely accurate. So if you want to learn more about what other people are doing with Neo4j, in such a growing field nowadays with so many different use cases, so many different techniques, so many different feedbacks, it's always worth attending. So subscribe as soon as you can, because spots might not be available anymore at some point. So yeah, you should definitely try. And up until now, I was also giving a quick look at the call for papers, but it's closed. So nope, sorry. If you wanted to plan to submit a proposal, it's too late for that. I'm sorry about it. It closed 2 days ago. So it's not gonna happen, but I hope you submit it in time, and we'll be so happy to review your proposal and even better, see you talk at the event and share your knowledge with the other participants. And finally, on a more personal note, I've been running for 3 years something called Hack Commit Push, which is a free day-long event. So it's completely free, and the idea here is to gather people who want to contribute to free open source projects and project maintainers. So it's a kind of a free open source hackathon, if you will. And the next edition will be again virtual, just like last year. The year before that, we had the pleasure to organize it in Paris in summer, in a very beautiful building. For the last 2 years, due to COVID, we had, of course, to organize it virtual to keep everyone safe. So please grab your tickets. There is a link right in the menu, and we'll be happy to see you and just pick the projects that you'd like to contribute on. So we have already announced a few, and the list is growing. We have possibility to work on Azul, on Openjdk, Eclipse.js, JBang, etc., etc. So there are a few different kind of tasks, and it can be documentation, it can be bug fixing, it can be a new feature. It all depends on the project, of course. And you don't have to speak French, by the way, if you want to attend. English is a lingua franca, and you might even have people talking the same native language as you, so it might even make the contributions easier, but by default, English is the language everyone's gonna use. So yeah, feel free to check out the projects. There are various links there, even some videos sometimes. There are very variety of things, so if you're into video game engines, you even have FXGL, for instance. We have JUnit Pioneer, we have Kubernetes, so yes, this Kubernetes project, if you want to work on documentation in your language or French language or any language, really, that's a great opportunity to learn more about how big projects like Kubernetes are structured, etc., etc. So really, grab a ticket. It's a full day on Saturday, 29, and we'll be more than happy to see you and see you grow, learn, and contribute, and start your first contributions, and maybe even more once the event is done. That's the idea, right? It's to get you to contribute to open source projects. And yes, that's more on the personal side. It's something I co-organize with my fellow teammates, and we'd love to see you there. And so before I move on to the actual Spring Data part, let me share the link. And thank you, Aline. Good to see you. I hope I didn't mispronounce your name. Thanks for joining the stream, and that's a good reminder that if you have any question about what I'm about to show, of course, please ask. I will do my best to answer. Sometimes I might not have the answer, and I will try to follow up as much as I can after the stream. So first link, of course, is for Node 2021. Second link is more of a personal thing that actually Neo4j, I'm so lucky that they support me in that endeavor. So we will have at some point more Neo4j announcements. There is already a free Neo4j training in the morning of the event. If you want to learn more about Neo4j, there will be Neo4j related projects. Just a discussion in progress. All right, so that was for the announcement side of things. Now let's move to the code. All right, let's do this. So I'm gonna focus again on Cipher DSL that I used last week, discovered and used last week for my project. So yeah, let's see what I've done. So Cipher DSL, and I will actually explain it through the examples we've written, is a DSL, so domain-specific language. That's a language that expresses the problems you want to solve in your specific business. So in that case, the DSL is about Cipher. Cipher is a query language, so you want to be able to express Cipher operations, and ideally in a type-safe way. So that's the whole goal of Cipher DSL, and this project has been born out of the needs of Spring Data Neo4j 6. At the time, it was not called Spring Data Neo4j 6. It was an experimental project called Spring Data Neo4j RX, because they wanted to investigate about first-class reactive support. And out of this experiment, I would say prototype, but experiment, they created Spring Data Neo4j 6, which is the framework I've been showing in the last few weeks. And so today I will continue on the Cipher DSL path, but let me show you what we've got last time. So obviously, the first thing I needed to do is to add Cipher DSL to the class path. So they are using something called calendar versioning, not the usual semantic versioning you're used to. So that's something the Spring projects at VMware started using earlier last year, I think. So that's the first thing. I need Cipher DSL on the class path. And then, lucky me, if we look, I'm using Neo4j template. So Neo4j template is based on the idea of templates that you might have seen in other Spring projects, like GDBC template, etc., etc. Basically, the goal of a template, and it comes from the template design pattern, is to encapsulate a whole lot of complexity and just expose the useful bits in a nutshell. It's definitely not strict definition, but I will go with that one. So this one is about executing Neo4j operations without too much verbosity, basically. And what we've done, so I wanted to find connectors, because my project is about being able to map the whole world of Neo4j connectors and import that into a graph. So I've been building a front end for that, an Angular front end with a graphical user interface, and a backend, which is right there. So the front end was built with Angular, so it's still something that needs to be finished. There is a few details I need to fix. That's something I live streamed a couple of weeks ago, a month ago maybe even. And of course the backend, which was still the main focus, so with Spring Data Neo4j 6 and the Spring MVC for the web part, the REST part, basically. So that's why you've got this API and stuff. And so what I wanted to do last week was to explore Cipher DSL and its integration with Spring Data Neo4j 6. Because there is obviously a natural integration between those two, because Cipher DSL solves the problems of Spring Data Neo4j 6. So that's not a coincidence that we can use Cipher DSL right with the building blocks of Spring Data Neo4j 6. So like in this Neo4j template, you can see I'm building a statement, and I will come back to that later. And I can give these statements directly to the to all the utilities of Neo4j template, to all the read, write, update, delete operations of Neo4j template, and that works out of the box, which is much better than using giant strings, string concatenations, etc., because it's so easy to make a typo, in a query and then ending up something that's not correct. Obviously, that will be code by test. But if you can eliminate a whole class of programming errors, then it's much better, right? Instead of relying only on tests. And so I have a question from Aline. So what about, let me show the question. What about GraphQL and Neo4j? Expose a GraphQL API backed by Neo4j and powered of course by Cipher, Neo4j DB, GraphQL, Spring Boot, React, Stack Reviews. Think about the stack. So there is actually, so it's not using Java as far as I know. I'm not super familiar with that. My colleague, William Lyon is much more knowledgeable about this. I believe if you go to groundstack.io, you will see basically the default stack, I would say, for working with GraphQL and Neo4j using one of the GraphQL integration libraries that we have. So yeah, I would start there. And as you can see, that's a stack. So GraphQL, React, Apollo, and Neo4j database. Sadly, I don't know much about it, so I cannot really go into details about how it works, but I would probably start with that if that's something you want to explore, Aline. So let me send the link to YouTube, because that's a YouTube question. Or actually, let me send it to everyone, Twitch and YouTube. So yeah, explore, I would say, explore GrandStack. So I know it doesn't fully answer your question, but I guess that's about all I know about GraphQL in general and the relation with Neo4j in particular. So that's a recommended stack that we fully support. And so yeah, hopefully, okay, thank you. Happy to answer your question. And so let's go back to the Cipher DSL. So as I was telling you, the whole goal is to eliminate the whole class of error due to the error proneness. Is that even a word? Error proneness? I'm not sure. Error proneness of string concatenation. Let's not have just raw strings, because it could be anything, right? A string can be the book of Shakespeare's, it could be a Cipher query, or it could be, I don't know, whatever your string can represent, which can be many things, right? Here we use types. Like I have my parameters that I will use to parameterize the query, language and transport, because I want to find connectors written in a specific language supporting a specific transport, which can be both or HTTP. And so I want to match a specific pattern, the pattern being a connector related to a transport, connector being a node. So that's a node with a label connector, and I will give it a variable name, like in Cipher. So that would be, the pattern would be something like this, basically. Same below. That's roughly the equivalent here. And then, of course, here you will have the match of those two. Match C connector, relationship to transport. Actually, I could probably be more accurate. I realize now I've not specified the type of relationship, so that's something I can probably improve. But that's something I can do later. It's not super exciting. I guess you can just specify named, so new symbolic name. So that's again the variable name. I guess you can. Let me see. Unbounded. So unbounded if you want to have recursive stuff with properties. There with type. I'm not even sure. That's something I would need to double check, but. Or unless there is an extra parameters here, so you can specify the type here, which would be in our case, if we have a look, which would be supports connector supported transport, which supports the transport. Okay, so that's support. Yeah, that would be even better. So more specific your match is, the better, so you match less data in the graph. And I have another question. Sorry, I didn't see it before. Do you know if Neo4j has some reactive driver? So the answer is yes, there is a reactive. So let me show the question to everyone. So thanks for asking. Yes, so it depends on the language you're targeting, like if it's Java or something else. But let me show you real quick. Except, of course, my browser disappeared. Yeah, nice. That's not where I want it to be. Okay, so if you go to Let's see. Neo4j drivers, we've got 5 official drivers as of today. We've got the Golang one, which I work on, Java, we've got .NET, we've got Python, and we've got JavaScript. I hope I didn't forget anyone. So if you go to the Neo4j Java driver, you will see, and actually Spring Data Neo4j uses the reactive capabilities of the Neo4j driver. You will see there is a reactive support. I'm not sure if it's well documented here, but hopefully I will find something. Let's just go to GitHub and you should see an example, at least in the README, a simple example. Or maybe not. Okay, so that's a fail on my part, but there is reactive support definitely, and same thing with the JavaScript driver. There is this RX session. We can see it. I'm just gonna cheat reactive session, etc., etc. So you've got support for all the reactive stuff. I wish I could find a real quick example with the Java driver. I thought it would be in the README, but it's not. Reactive, nope. Okay, well, too bad. Java Spring Boot, Java. Yeah, I'm just gonna go to the manuals and Neo4j manual Java driver. And get started, driver version, installations, reactive. So yes, you have the support reactive stream, which is a specification for all the RX implementation in the Java world. And I'm not sure if we have an example with the reactive stuff, but yeah, there is probably a reactive session in there. RX, you've got basically all the blocking examples, and then you have the RX stuff. So RX result, RX session, RX transaction. Basically, the name varies, the concepts are the same. So yes, so in Java and JavaScript, that's for sure. In .NET, I'm not completely sure. Whether. So yes, there is Neo4j driver reactive. So yes, and in Python, which is definitely not my forte, because I don't know much Python in general, so I've not used this one as much. I'm not sure you've got reactive support directly. And so yes, and for Go, there is no explicit support for reactive stuff as far as I know. So depends on the language you're targeting, basically. So sorry, it took me longer than I thought to answer this, but I hope it helps. So yeah, in short, .NET, Java, JavaScript, reactive support is baked in. In Python, I'm not sure, and in Go, I don't think so. And so Aline is also mentioning something about Kafka and Neo4j. So there are some integrations. I'm not familiar with all of them, but there is definitely some connector, I believe. Yeah, so you can go to this one. There is Neo4j Stream Kafka integration. So that's something you could look at if you want to dig that, to dig the support. So it's not something I've personally tried, but I'm pretty sure it works very well. And there is a sync connector if you want to send stuff to Neo4j through Apache Kafka Connect, I think, that's not something I'm super familiar with, but I hope it can give you some pointers. Cool. So going back to our friends here. So I just changed to auto type, which is a bit better than what I did last time. Then you've got the where clause, like the standard where clause of Cipher. And then you can specify properties of specific nodes. And in that case, I want the URI to contain language, and I want the value to be equal to the parameter. Yeah. So I could probably even, with properties, you see, I could also do that, for instance, in case of transport, because, let me see, keys and values. So basically, yeah, something I would have to try, but because that would be the equivalent of, if instead of matching everything, also it's get normalized, so it's not a big deal. I could do something like, so currently it's in this form, and then there is a where, but I could actually change this to have the equivalent on this, like value and some transport. Because I know it in advance, it's strict equality, so I could do this in the match clause. But that's an improvement for later. It's not super important, and that's not what I want to cover today. I just wanted to show you the initial integration we did. So it's it's kind of simple query, I would say. So match a simple pattern and with some where predicates, and then returning the connectors that we matched, and it works. And we are using that as a custom repository fragment. So with some magic, so to say, with Spring Data Neo4j, you have this extra repository here, this extra interface that is explicitly implemented by this fragment here. And then it will be aggregated to the actual connector repository just through the extra interface I had here. So not only there is a Spring Data Neo4j interface, but there is my fragment interface. And because the name of the implementation is the same as the interface, but with IMPL, Spring Data Commons will be smart enough. So Spring Data Neo Commons, encapsulates a bunch of things common to all Spring Data projects, and it will be smart enough to aggregate the implementation to this repository. And that's why, if you look at the test, I'm not testing the fragment alone. I'm just using the actual repository here, like the central one here, which receives the aggregated fragment, and I call it like I would call any other method. So that's a way to integrate Cipher DSL. I'm not saying that's the only way, but that's a way to do it. Basically, you have a custom fragment, implement whatever you want, in that case, Cipher DSL, and go with that. So that's what we had. But as I was pointing out towards the end of the session last week, there is a tiny drawback. Because basically, I always have to go back and between the queries that I'm writing, and I just did it today, actually, to check the type of the relationship, and the annotations. Because the domain mapping knowledge is already encoded in a way. It's already on my entities. So if I look at connector, because that's what I did, I didn't remember the relationship type, I had to go through the connector node, so it's mapped to a node in the graph, and had to parse, my brain had to parse this. Oh, okay, yeah, right. It's a support relationship. That's where it comes from. So it's a pity, in a way, to have to duplicate this kind of mapping information between Cipher DSL and Spring Data Neo4j6, given everything is already derived from Spring Data Neo4j6. So the question is there some kind of way to avoid to have to write this manually and instead have it generate the code based on the annotations, because the annotations already carry the knowledge of the mapping information. And the good news is we cannot do it. Just kidding. The good news is we can do it. So let me show you real quick. And that's something very recent. That's my colleagues, Michael Simons and Gerrit Meyer, so the maintainers of Spring Data Neo4j, worked on. So if we look and we go to the documentation, so there is, I really invite you, so always true for any project, but even though, so for Spring Data Neo4j6 and Cipher DSL, I really recommend you to read the docs. They are super well written. Cipher DSL is quite fast to read. There is not a ton of docs because the project is simple. The API surface is quite easy to understand. But still, take some time to read it. It's very interesting. And so basically, the questions I was phrasing just now can be summarized like, can we build a static meta model? That's what the thing is about, because the meta model, in a way, is already there. Those are Spring Data Neo4j6 information, so that's the shape of my metadata, but it's there, so I don't want to have to repeat it. And lucky for us, there is an annotation processor. So an annotation processor, for those who are not familiar, are programs that are written to parse annotations. When I say annotations, if you're not familiar with Java, that's this kind of thing, this add thing, right? This kind of construct. And so you can instrument the Java compiler to parse those kind of data and generate bytecodes generate whatever resource you want, or code that will be subsequently compiled by another round of compilations. And so Michael Simons and Gerrit Meyer had the idea of why not writing an annotation processor? Because Spring Data Neo4j6 is the metadata is based on annotations. We have this add node, this add ID, generated value relationship, etc., etc. So why not have some kind of facility to let me just minimize this because it's annoying to read those annotations, deduce the mapping model, and generate the code for Cipher DSL, so that we don't have to do it. So because it's a live stream, I'm not going through the manual way of building a static meta model. That would be what's described in the previous sections. I can go through it real quick. Basically, you have a node base and relationship base. So if you were writing this manually, that's how you would do it for each of your entities. You would extend a specific class that is meant for extension and implement a bunch of things. But we're not going to have to do that because, again, Spring Data Neo4j6 already encodes all the mapping information I need in the forms of annotations. So the Spring Data Neo4j6 annotation processor will do the job for me and generate the Cipher DSL boilerplate, so to say, so that I don't have to write it myself. And the source of truth is not duplicated anymore, because currently the source of truth is divided between this, where I have to code myself the label names, the relationship names, and the entities. But the real source of truth are the entities, not this. So there is, of course, a synchronization issue. One can involve without the other, so that would be probably a bug caught by the test, but we never know. If we can eliminate classes of error, again, I'm all for it, so let's try. So first step, as you can see, we need to grab this and add it to the class path, or actually not add it to the class path, but configure it as Annotation Processor. If you add it to the class path, that will work as well, but that's not the recommended way. So for this, we're using the standard Maven compiler, so the thing that delegates to Java-C, so Java-C being the standard Java compiler. And so if we look, I probably, yeah, I don't have any explicit configurations there because I'm using the standard Spring Boot POM, but I'm going to add it here. And I'm going to be super lazy. I'm just going to pick this because that's all good to me. I just need to instruct the compiler to say, hey, by the way, please add this specific annotation processor so that when the compilation rounds start, please invoke it. And so now I need the version. I believe the version is probably correct. I'm a bit paranoid, I know. I like to check it myself. 2021.1.1. 2021.1.1, so that was correct. Why did I doubt you, Michael and Gerrit? I'm sorry. I shouldn't have. And so, okay, so now that's the first thing. We're going to refresh so that IntelliJ understands that things have changed. So Maven reload project. That's cool. And then the next time I build the project, next time a compilation is happening, I expect to see some generated code somewhere. Why? Because I've had this annotation processor, and there are annotations that it supports. I assume so. So let's build it. Let's build the project, and then let's inspect what gets generated. Not in details, you know, I trust what's going to happen. Ooh, that's an interesting error. Probably because, so what version am I using? There is a JDK version mismatch. Java 11, and maybe, so let's check real quick. Maybe the project is not properly configured. That's so annoying when it happens. I really hate it, but you know. Open module settings. So the module should be fine because it's based on the Maven configuration, but the project is not, so I'm just going to align it to 11. Most of the time, I really don't need the distinction between project and modules, but hey, you know. So let's try to rebuild it. Hopefully that will be okay. Nope, still not. In that case, screw IntelliJ. Sorry, pardon my French. But I'm just gonna go with the command line. And if there is an issue here, then we'll be kind of stuck, which is pity because that's something I wanted to show. So let's just build without tests. I mean the test path, but we don't have to run through it. All right. Great, great, nice. Okay, so as usual, when something unexpected happens, what do? We just Google for the answer. So I'm not gonna cheat, I'm gonna do it. What is this? Okay, maybe let's remove the quote. Seriously, didn't expect that, didn't see it coming. So I'm just gonna pick the random stuff. And we have bogus Java importing source codes. This issue. Okay, that's very old, so nope. What is this? So that's not exactly the same. Yeah, no, not the same. Cannot be cast to class. What the hell is going on? Seriously, I'm just gonna remove this. So JC probably cannot be cast to class. Ah man, it's been a while. I hadn't any unexpected issues. Just kidding, it happens all the time. But let's pick recent stuff. Nice, nothing. Too bad. So let's, yeah, whatever. I'm gonna go back to this. Just picking randomly. Alright, for Wickman, compiler. Yeah, okay, nothing. Nothing. So let's see. I don't speak that language, but who knows? Yeah, no, okay. I'm not gonna spend time on that. So let's see. What the hell can I do then? Might downgrade to 8, like to Java 8 before the module mess. Like, does that help? So if I do this, not sure. That's just trying to trick the compiler to not annoy me. So just to make sure it switched. Oh, what? Say what? Java 16. So of course not. There is a bug with JARM sometimes as used to manage. So I'm just going to disable and enable again, because sometimes it doesn't take into account what I'm trying to do. But why is it picking Java 16? Oh man, that's very, very annoying. So I'll do it by hand for now. I like when, when fleet of bugs just fly to me. Seriously. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do it by hand. So now Maven should be happy and stop annoying me. Yes, thank you, Java 8. Seriously. We need to ditch JL at some point, I guess, because it's not working well. So even with Java 8, that still doesn't solve anything. Yeah, okay. So nice. So then I will be stuck much earlier than I wanted. In which case, I don't have much to show, to be honest, because I wanted this to work and it does not. So I'm just gonna try this, just this. Ah man, it's painful. So what is this? Is there an Openjdk bug? Is it related to what I'm seeing or not at all? Let's see. I love waiting for a blank page to load. What the hell is going on? Come on, now is my connection failing me as well? That would be perfect. Yeah, or the Openjdk stuff is down, I don't know. Come on. Sorry if I'm getting a bit angry here, but one unexpected issue is fun, but when it's time, when I have 3 in a row, that starts to get a bit annoying, to be honest. Yeah, my connection is not crazily fast. It should be 3 times as fast than it currently is, but that shouldn't explain why it doesn't work. Man, so let's see the cached version of it. Does it help? Seems not real nice. Real nice. I cannot even Google anything, so that's perfect. So okay, let's remain calm. Let's try to go through this. Yeah, it's all talking about imports. But why do I have such imports? Do I have any? So either it's imports on the Cipher DSL part or in my applications. I'm just using stamped stuff, so I don't think, yeah, I don't think it's an issue here. Maybe an issue on Cipher DSL side. It's quite new, so it might happen there is an issue there, which is fine. It happens. Yeah, I'm just not using this, but apart from that, yeah, it looks legit. So, okay, finally loaded. It's not the same error as I see, but oh, and I cannot scroll. Nice. I cannot do anything with this. That's so nice. Okay, well, you know what? I guess I'm gonna cut this short because I don't see the point of me trying to Google and not finding anything. So let's call it quits for now. I'm very sorry about this. I didn't expect it to fail so early. You know, just hiding the annotation processor and exercising it in the compilation step. There is some kind of strange issues. I will have to dig this a little more, and I will keep you updated later. So I'm very sorry I couldn't go much further. But yes, there must be some kind of issues, and I'm gonna check real quick. Yeah, so there is nothing generated, of course, because the annotation processor crashes. The compilation stops. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna troubleshoot that right now, but probably not gonna live stream it because that's not gonna be super interesting. I'm gonna check maybe on the Cipher DSL side to see. Oh, you know what? Maybe I could stream it and we'll see what we'll figure out. So not exactly what I planned. I already have Cipher DSL cloned, I believe. Yes, it was mostly about this. Let me just check. So the stream is now. Let's figure out what's going on with the project I've not imported until now. So let's open this. Let's open Cipher DSL and let's figure it out together. It really was not the plan, but all right. So first project, yes. New window. I like the new UI for this JSON IntelliJ experiments. So let's IntelliJ resolve dependencies and actually figure a build skipping tests. So that's what happens. And then we try to understand what's going on. Which could be anywhere, but who knows. And then if I find a fix, I will then point to my local Cipher DSL, so the local version. All right, and invalid flag release. Yes, because I need Java 11, I believe. So let's cheat and do this again, but this time with Java 11. I like the snapshot version, 9999. 999999. Yes, there is some German reference there. Because yeah, by the way, Michael Simon Center is my German, which is why I'm doing this very funny joke. while I'm trying to build Cipher DSL. So it's going further, so that's nice. Okay. Skipping the test execution, but still compiling them. All right. Come on. Boom. Okay, native image plugin. I'm not surprised it doesn't work because I don't have any setup for this. However, so CodeGen is probably the one I'm interested in, especially the SDN6 stuff. So let's discover together what could be the issue. I honestly have no idea. So there is this annotation processor. Is there any funny import in there that would explain the problem? So there is the JAVAX stuff, which is legit because that's where all the annotation processing representation, I mean the code, the source code representation are in those API. Yeah, so I don't think it looks legit from here. Okay, I'm not sure how much we can do. So let me maybe try go back to the project I was showing you. So project I've been live streaming for a while. Yeah, and let's just compile with extra stack traces for fun. So there's a bunch of info. And so stack traces in here. So I'm just gonna copy it, and as you can see, there is the SDN6 annotation processor in the stack trace. So let's try to figure out what's going on. And again, not guaranteed I'm gonna figure out anything. I'm not that smart. I wish I was, but that's just not the case. And so there is obviously the Maven plugin machinery. Wait a second, I just heard a very strange noise. I'm just gonna check everything is okay. Just give me 2 seconds. Oh, okay, false alarm. But that noise worried me. I guess one of my neighbors did something strange. Anyway, scrolling until we reach the actual problem. Who doesn't like it? Here, that's here. So we have this error here. The JC primitive type cannot be cast to class type declare type. And let's see what's going on here. And so line 7046 as element to string. So this doesn't work. This specific cast doesn't work. Debugging it will be super annoying. So let's try to understand where it comes from. So yeah, let's unroll from here. Is associations, what does it do? Reassembles default Neo4j persistent entity properties association. So let's try. So it's using a type, a field type as a type element. So it's a type mirror. Well, it's declared type. What is this? It's a relation to type mirror. Okay, so that's where, okay, I think I kind of know what the issue is, having worked myself with Annotation Processor before. I think, so declared type is a specific type. I think the issue should be, I'm not completely sure, it's been a while I haven't used this, but you have this kind of simple type visitor or something. Let me see. Type visitor, so we're deep into Java annotation processing. Type mirror visitor, maybe? Can I use this? Oh, interesting. Is it type? Is it what? So let's have this. So that's our type mirror. Basically, so type mirror means oops, I don't know why it went that far. But our type mirror. Type mirror basically tells you information about the usage of a specific type in the source code being processed. And I think there is something about accept type visitor. And then that should give us what we want here, instead of failing like this. So we should use this new simple type visitor. I don't care which one. This one, for instance. What version are we? What version? I think it's Java 11, but I'm not sure. Where is it? Should be somewhere here, I guess. Version 8, actually. Okay. So let's just stick with simple visitor 8. Import class, it's an anonymous class, and then of course yeah, so what I want is not so let me check. What do I want? RP. So R is my default value, which I don't care about, and P is the type I'm actually interested in. So actually there is a bunch of inheritance going on, which is super annoying, but if we just look at the type visitor interface, it actually gives you an R. So the R I care about, the P not so much. So the first type parameter is interesting, the other one actually. So I guess I could do something like this. I'm not super sure, and there is the other one I don't care about. And then I need to implement. So declare type. And that's my actually, yeah, except I'm mixing everything, but something like this, something like this. Might not work at all, but you know. Why is it unhappy? Accept type is the declare type, cannot be applied to it. Okay, so let me move this somewhere else. Probably type visitor also implements extend actually, sorry. Extend simple type visitor of integer type void. And what kind of thing can I do? We'll see. Is it primitive? Is it type variable? Is there any visit declare types? Visit declared, yes, that's exactly what I want. That's exactly what I want. So basically, the visitor will take care of doing these kind of things. So I'm sorry if it's a bit mysterious. That was not planned at all. I'm just trying to see whether that will work. So just gonna do this, and let's see if it works. So accept should take a type visitor. I have a type visitor. Why is it unhappy with this? It is a type visitor. Common. Type visitor of declare type void. Accept type visitor of declare type void. Oh yeah, I need to pass an extra value, don't I? No. Okay. All right. So I have this, doing this, and so something does not compile. Usage of API dependencies. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead. Boom. Gone. And maybe by default for now, we're just gonna do. So there is a default action. So we're just gonna do something super ugly. see what it is about. All right, so I've got this. That's nice. I'm just gonna build it and try to use it locally and see if that solves my problem. And if not, well, I tried. At least I mean, I had a choice: either stop the stream or try to figure out the situation. So I'm like, okay, why not try and see what happens. So Cipher DSL. I just want to install because it's a snapshot. I want it locally. I want to test. And I just want Neo4j Cypher DSL codegen / I just want to install this specific project. It's a version we then have to change, which would be 9999. So let's wait for the build. Let's see if my fix helps or not. But yeah, usually, so that's something I've learned the hard way as well. Usually you do not cast to the types you want because it's not guaranteed to work in the annotation processor. Fading, there are 12 errors reported by check style. Indent must be not used tab character. Oh, really? Really? So why is not taking this into account? I have no idea. So I'm gonna do something stupid, but I just want to get going. So configuration, phase on error, boom. That's cheating. That's not something you want to do in real life when you have time, but when you don't have time and just want to check something real quick, you don't want to deal with check style errors. But usually you want to respect the project setup. Because it's not my project, I'm just trying to help, so I shouldn't change it. That's not something I want to push, but I'm in a bit of a hurry, so that's why I'm doing this. Hopefully the violations, the styling violations won't be blocking. Or not. What's going on now? Come on. You know what? I'm just going to disable it. So just check real quick. Maven check style plugin. Disable. Boom. How do I disable this? Check style skip. Boom. Exactly. That's exactly what I want. Thank you very much. I hope Psychology isn't wrong. So just need to find the property somewhere. Yes, here. And let's try one last time. And maybe if my fix somehow miraculously fixes the problem, I will at least be able to show you the generated code and how we can use it. Although I'm not super confident about this. At least we tried. We could have given up, and we didn't. I don't know why I say we. But yeah, I tried to fix it, and if it does not cut it, well, we'll have to stop there, but never give up is my message. That's not something I really planned, but and I'm slightly losing my voice. That's perfect. Yet another issue. All right. Let's wait. Okay, so check style doesn't bother me anymore. Thing is installed, so I can go back to the other project, and we'll see if that works. Where is our friend? Our friend is there. So now I can use the snapshot version because I've just installed it in my local repository. Hopefully, but probably not. I'm not very optimistic. Hopefully that will be enough, but I don't think so. So if I try now to re-trigger a compilation, I will try to test. Shouldn't crash. Null pointer exception, yay. Much better. So yeah, that's even worse. So where does it come from? Yeah, basically it doesn't find anything. Oh, man. So there is definitely an issue around this, but it should also, before it crashes, it should somehow print something. Oh yeah, but I know. I mean, I don't know, but yes, if I want to print stuff, I need to use a specific logger, very specific to annotation processing. Yeah, okay, so I tried. There is definitely an issue there. I will find an issue at the very least and talk about it with my fellow colleagues in the Spring Data Neo4j team. And we'll see what the actual fix is. I tried to figure out on a project, I don't know, so it's not super easy. And very sorry I couldn't show more about the annotation processor, but hopefully I will be able to next time. Also, next time I was planning to cover something else, but if needed, I will make it a bit longer than the usual hour. So I will try to cover what I wanted to cover today, which is using the annotation processor to derive the Cipher DSL generated code and use it instead of manually writing the Cipher DSL stuff. And then I will move on to one important topic if you're an existing user, which is migrating from Spring Data Neo4j 5/Neo4j OGM to Spring Data Neo4j 6, which doesn't use Neo4j OGM. Because there are several gotchas, because it's a major new version with several changes. So yeah, that's something I wanted to cover, and we covered already with my colleague Jennifer Rafe. Internally, but it's something I want to talk about concluding then this live stream series. So next week will be the last week, but I will try to cover both topics. Maybe I will make it 1.5 hours long instead of 1 hour, but that's the idea. And sorry, I'm losing my voice, so I guess it's time. My body is telling me to stop. And yeah, again, apologies for not going as far as I wanted to. Thank you for attending the stream, and hopefully I will have a fix by next week, by me or by my colleagues, more likely, and I will be able to complete what I wanted to show you today. So yeah, maybe the only message here is if you find an issue, even if it's not your project, try to figure it out and go as best as you can and find an issue at the very least. So thanks a lot, everyone. And then I will see you next week. Have fun, stay safe, and see you soon.